It was May 2016, and I was on a ministry tour with my university choir and orchestra, and tour that year ended in Seattle, Washington. On the last day of tour, my head hurt so much that I was hospitalized. The pain was so excruciating, and it was confusing because it was so out of the blue. But I got a brain scan, a CT scan, and it revealed that the right side of my brain had started to swell. Well, because of the swelling, it was determined that I needed to have an emergency brain surgery called a craniectomy. And that procedure consisted of shaving off my beautiful curls, slicing open my scalp, and removing the right side of my skull, which was about a 5-inch in diameter piece, and then sewing my scalp back. I had a huge soft spot on the right side of my head, and I was in a coma for 3 weeks after that. And during that stretch of time, the doctors had no idea what the cause of my brain swelling was. Also during that time, I lost all function. The essence of Mickenzie had completely evaporated during that time. I mean, we're talking, I'm this jovial, singing songbird, junior year of college, about to graduate, and I lost it all. And I woke up week 3. The doctors figured it out. They're like, we've got the diagnosis. Mickenzie has a rare autoimmune disorder called acute hemorrhagic leukoencephalitis. And my parents are like, wait, what? And what they found out is that this disease is a very rare autoimmune disorder where the immune system gets triggered and it attacks the brain. Well, it's so rare that it's hard to diagnose because it's not common. It's not like, oh yeah, she's got acute hemorrhagic leukoencephalitis. It's just like there's like 1 out of 1 million people in the world get this. Because it's so rare, it's hard to diagnose, and those who do get it don't survive past day 6 because the entire brain swells on the 6th day. But even if someone does survive this disease, they do not have a full recovery. So things were looking really grim, understandably. So after my brain surgery, it was believed that if I were going to survive, I would not have a pristine or perfect healing. And my family serves a God who heals. So my parents and my sister flipped that word upside down. What was spoken in a negative light was actually our prayer the entire time. My family prayed for a pristine healing for my life, where we were believing, they were believing, I was unconscious during this time, they were believing that I was going to survive the next day and the next week and the next month and year after year after year, believing that God would indeed heal. So once my doctors figured out what I had, I woke up from my coma, and I spent a full 35 days in the neuro ICU, and then was moved up to the rehabilitation unit, where I spent an additional 45 days rebuilding everything. In my coma, I lost all function, and that's in addition to losing the ability to do daily tasks like sit up and walk and talk and swallow and drink fluids and tell time and write and be a good listener. Everything like daily function wise was gone. But in addition to that, I lost the ability to feel. I lost all of my emotions, to the point where it was a big day when Mickenzie laughed again. When I laughed, when I cried. It actually happened in the same day, so it was a very, very big emotional day. But I couldn't laugh anymore. I wasn't able to smile. My dimples were gone. Wasn't able to raise my eyebrows. Like, really, truly, I had disappeared. And through those 45 days in therapy, it was the process of me rebuilding strength, not only in my body, but my mental and my emotional health. So a full 80 days in the hospital had been completed. I got to go home, spend a full semester at home with my folks, where I continued to heal, going through more therapies, and 6 months without the right side of my skull. I wore a helmet everywhere I went, and we finally found a neurosurgeon back in my home state who was able to perform a procedure called a craniotomy. It was a replacement of what I had been missing for 6 months. So again, beautiful hair got shaved off, opened up my scalp, and locked in a awesome 3D printed prosthetic piece of my skull, and sewed me back up. And that day, it was November 1st, 2016, was really significant because I was whole again. And it kind of boosted my confidence because I didn't even wear a helmet everywhere I went. The next 2 months, I was just rearing to go back to college. I mean, it was my senior year that I was missing out on. And by the grace of God, 8 months after the onset of this brain swelling, I was given the green light to go back to school. So January 2017, we drove back down to Southern California. I started my senior year. And by the miraculous power of God, I made the dean's list, like demonstrating academic excellence, which is only God's goodness. Like, that's cool. That's amazing. That I didn't just survive. I didn't just regain muscles in my body. I'm smart, and I was able to finish a semester of college again. And then I graduated a year later. So with a traumatic brain injury, my entire brain swelled, and that caused a lot of brain damage. It was perfectly taught to my family that it's like a big snow dump fell on my brain. Like lots and lots of just thick snow and heavy ice, and winter. Winter was on my brain. And through the very slow process of healing, it's like the main corridors of my brain are being, cleared out by a snow machine. But the neighborhoods and the cul-de-sacs are going to take a long time for that snow to clear. So the best thing that clears the snow and melts the snow away is spring. So when I was going through these days where they seemed to muddle through, it'd just be the same thing day after day after day, I was getting really confused, and the confusion scared me. I called it dreams versus reality, where I felt like I was living a nightmare. And I would look at my mom and I would ask in fear and trepidation, I would say, spring is coming? It was a question, like, Mom, like, I don't know what reality is. Spring is coming? And she knew exactly what was going on in my mind, and she would say with just a declaration of hope, yes, my darling, spring is coming. And it would wash over me that spring indeed was coming. No matter how long the winter was going to be, spring would come, the sun would rise, the warmth would melt the snow and ice, and green would grow again. So in that, I'm 8 years removed from this crazy experience. I don't even know what to call it, trial. And spring has always been a symbol of life. I think it is for a lot of people, but specifically spring is coming. It's a beacon of hope that no matter how long my waiting is, no matter what I'm waiting for, I think we're all waiting for something in each season. No matter how long the waiting is, spring is inevitable. It will come again. It will melt the snow and ice, and green and growth will come. Spring is coming.